Hello guys! It's been a while since we've done a live stream down here. I tried to control the chaos as much as I can, but I make the biggest messes of anyone I know. So I thought today I would let you guys know where I'm going to be so far this year. I'm working on a few things. Up first is the big fish deal in Gaithersburg, Maryland, which is February 15th through the 17th. And I'll put a link in the chat to that. It's a really fun event that has an aquarium beautiful competition, which is when people bring their escaped aquariums from home and set them up all throughout the hotel, and there's a bunch of different categories. There's a bunch of different speakers. I am moderating the speaker panel, and I'm also doing a tank build. So I'll be scaping a tank, utilizing driftwood and botanicals and some plants, specifically for Epistogramma. So that should be fun. And Jen Williams is doing a more classically aquascaped aquarium at the same time, and we'll be doing commentary throughout. So mine is not being judged, but they'll be then, I think, raffling it off or auctioning it off. I'm not sure which. But it's just a really, really, really fun event. It's my favorite one of the entire year. It's a real hobbyist haven. Several hundred people come up, and then on Sunday they do a giant marketplace where everyone sets up tables and sells fish or fish stuff or anything aquatic related, and it's just super fun. So if you have the potential to go to Maryland for this event, I really encourage you to check it out. It's really fun. And then after that, in March, at the end of March, I am going to Aquashella, which we just got set up last night. I will be there Saturday and Sunday morning, and I'm pretty excited about that one too, because I've never been to Texas. So it's a really good opportunity for me to meet a good part of my fan base that otherwise I wouldn't encounter. So Texans, I'm coming for you. It should be really fun. Other than that, I am not entirely sure what I'm doing this year. It's difficult for me to schedule right now because we don't know what my husband's schedule is going to be, and I have kids, so they have to be the priority. But I will be updating my website before long with the events that I'll be at for sure, and I will keep that up to date as the year progresses and I decide where I'm going. I am in Pennsylvania. I am not in Canada. I may be going to Ontario this spring as well. I'm not sure yet. You know, I get invited to a lot of stuff, but the reality is speaking does not pay anything generally, and when it does, it's a pittance, and it's really, really difficult to be away from the Fishroom and my family for long. I do still have 236s. They're actually in the aquarium right behind me there. We'll take a look at them if they're feeling photogenic in a little bit. I am not currently keeping any puffers. Puffers aren't really my preference. They're really cool fish. They're just not my preference. I actually haven't measured the pH of my Blackwater setup, Emmanuel. I don't generally. I measure TDS and things like that. Sorry, my husband's texting me. Yes, Sandy Keoak, which is the Confederation of Aquarium Clubs in Canada, has reached out. I just have to see if I can make it work with the timeline and my schedule and all that stuff. Someone just asked if I ever dose ferts. Nope. And, well, that's a lie. Rarely, not on any sort of schedule. I have a whole bunch of different things around here, but most often I just use the Tropica because it's a pump and it's super easy. But I don't do any regular fertilization. Mainly because I don't see the deficit in my plants that require it. If my plants look like they were suffering, then I would adjust my routine accordingly. And I do have plans at some point to the captain's dancing, to make one of my planted aquariums at least a high-tech setup, just so that we can go through that learning curve together of setting up CO2, because I've never done it, so I thought it might be useful to some of you guys to sort of see my learning curve with it. And then, of course, if you're doing CO2, you generally have to fertilize as well in order to encourage the plant growth to outcompete any potential algae. The event in Maryland is the Big Fish Deal. It's super fun. See if I don't have my glasses on. I don't even know where my glasses are, to be honest. So I'm going to look at my computer to try and see chat. Captain seems confused to why there's leaves in his aquarium. He's such a strange fish. You know, I've been getting comments lately commenting on the fact that he's always sort of listed, but that is him pouting. I assure you that fish swims just fine. He's just really weird, and you know, I stopped trying to predict his quirks about 10 years ago because he is just a character. How do I feed my fish when I go away for more than a week? I don't. Unless I'm going to be, well, I've never been gone more than 2 weeks. So I don't. I'd rather them not be fed than have them be overfed. Unless there's a tank of really critical fry, I don't have them fed. And if I do have critical tanks that need to be fed, I hire a pet sitter and I put out pre-portioned amounts with labels for the specific tanks they go to. I think I might still have some labels around somewhere. I put feed me stickers on the tanks that need to be fed. And then I will pre-portion the foods and attach it to that aquarium for them to feed. And then I hide the actual containers of food because I don't want anyone to think that, you know, the amount is insufficient, or maybe other fish are hungry and need to be fed. So rather safe than sorry. I don't keep brackish tanks, Tech Turtle. I keep freshwater, so I can't really talk about something I'm not doing. Do I use almond leaves in my tanks? Yes, heavily. Well, I think there's only like 4 or 5 tanks right now that have them in there, but I have an enormous stack of botanicals, and very soon I'm going to be doing another video on applying botanicals to a shrimp aquarium, and specifically how that benefits things, and that botanicals don't have to mean black water. So I'm pretty excited to produce some of that content for you guys. I have never owned saltwater Travis, and I don't know that I ever will. You see, I can't seem to do things a little bit, as evidenced by my fish room. So I am concerned that if I get started on saltwater, I'll need a second fish room, and my house just isn't big enough. April asked if I'm ever keep African cichlids. Yeah, I keep African cichlids now. I have Paracyprochromis nigripinus, Cyprochromis. I have Altalamprologus. I have Neolamprologus. I have West African Pelvicochromis. So I keep a lot of, well, not a lot of Africans, a few Africans. Thank you for the super chat. Joe, do I keep any killifish? Right now, no. I have worked with clown killies. I've worked with Norman's lamp eyes, but I haven't worked with many killies simply because the vast majority of my aquariums are open top. And killies, a lot of killies are really good jumpers, and I just never wanted to risk their safety. There are so many cool killies, though. I've really been tempted, and I've got a stack of lids that I got so that I can keep some more of those top-dwelling, prone-to-jumping fish in the future. I have a lot of plans for the fish room this year. I actually want to break down this wall of tanks and move my 150 over there, and then move all the small tanks around the corner to the Nano corner. And at that point, I will have more vertical space over here, and I may do a series of small display tanks, because I only have 2 Nano tanks right now, or three Nano tanks. So you know, there's lots of things I want to do. Now, actually moving the 150 is going to be a nightmare because I'm going to have to drain it and remove all that beautiful hardscape, and just the thought of that makes me sad because I just hope I'll be able to recreate it. But it's also been running for almost 4 years, and, you know, maybe a rescape is in order. Did my bikers in the monster tank reach full size? No, they kind of grow their entire life pretty slowly at this point because they're nearing 12 years old, so their growth is really slow. But in the wild, they can get substantially larger than they generally do in captivity. But, you know, they'll keep growing. The only fish in that aquarium that is totally full grown is the tropical gar, who is mahusive. What was my first fish? My first fish was not a fish at all. My first fish was a frog. African dwarf frogs and apple snails, actually. And I got interested in the genetics of the color traits of the apple snail, so I started line breeding those. And then I wanted species that I could put with my snails that wouldn't harm their antenna, which is how I got interested in shrimp and small fish. Is maintaining pH in particular fish necessary, or consistency in pH is more important? Consistency 100%. How do I keep otocinclus alive? With otocinclus, it's a matter of them being able to be fed. They really need a mature tank, and by a mature tank I mean probably 6 months or older, so that it has a really good amount of biofilm growing on it. I also find it to be really useful to supplement them with leaf litter, and obviously to have a fair amount of wood in the aquarium that they can graze on. Carrie, thank you for the super chat. As far as fixing how we're paid in the aquarium hobby, you know, I've been lecturing for 13 years, I think. Some clubs give you a small honorarium. Most clubs give you nothing. They just cover your expenses. And I'm not really sure why that is in this industry, because it's the only industry I know of that's like that, where they want to bring people in because of their knowledge base, but not compensate them. And I don't really know how to fix it. I mean, I guess I could charge a speaker's fee, but then that limits the opportunities. Captain Cranky Pants is being a diva. Can you supplement Odos with algae wafers? If you look at the ingredients of most commercially produced algae wafers, they're not made of algae. So generally, Odos don't particularly care for them. Most of the algae wafers are actually made of fish meal. So I supplement them with Rapashi Soylent Green, which is a gelatinized food. I've shown you guys in past videos how to make that. And again, leaf litter. I don't find that they particularly care for most vegetables. After a while, after they're good and established, they tend to take more prepared foods much easier. Excuse me, I've had a cold for like 2 months. I just can't kick it. Are green neons hardier than regular neons? I don't know. I mean, green neons are generally wild caught, whereas regular neons are farmed at this point. I find them to be hardy, but I don't generally have much issue with getting new fish. So maybe. And I haven't gotten regular neon tetras in over a decade. The ones I have in the fish room are 14 years old. Archer fish would be cool, but they're a little bit big for my tastes. Well, thank you, Tina. I try to make myself look nice for you guys. Well, see, someone in the chat says their Odos love courgette or zucchini. Mine just have never cared for it. Sometimes I'll use Brussels sprouts, canned Brussels sprouts. And what's neat about those is that when you drop them in the aquarium, they sink, and when they're starting to go bad, they float so you can remove them. And sometimes I'll eat those. Will I consider keeping vampire shrimp? No. Simply because the vast majority of fan filter shrimp are electrofished, which is very, very rough on them, and the mortality rate is really high. So I won't import those creatures because I don't want to support that practice. I try and put my money where my mouth is and only shop from suppliers who are ethical. My first big mistake. Oh yeah, I did a doozy. I bought a bunch of plants from Asia, Anubias specifically, and I dropped them into all my shrimp tanks. I rinsed them, I rinsed them really well, dropped them in my shrimp tanks, and they must have had pesticides on them because it wiped out 8 tanks of shrimp. And this was in 2005 when shrimp, even cherry shrimp, were like $12 a piece. It's not a good mistake. That was a doozy. But I learned that I need to quarantine my plants before adding them to shrimp tanks in particular. So, a very expensive mistake. That was thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of shrimp lost, plus like years of effort of breeding them. My knee is doing awful. I am in constant pain. I don't fall down. I can walk. I can, it's very much better as far as stability, but the pain is just unmanaged at this point. I don't want to be on narcotics, and I don't want to be on the medication they want me to be on for my nerve misfires, because it makes me substitute words and not make sense, and it's very frustrating, so I stopped taking it. The doctor says that I have some disorder that is caused from my knee being bone on bone for 20 years. That causes your nerves to misfire and causes pain. It's not curable. Yeah, gabapentin. I do not like gabapentin. It makes me feel so stupid and just difficulty finding my words and just saying things that make no sense. So I did try CBD and it didn't help, unfortunately. The wild bettas love the rooibos. I actually need to dose it again. It's getting less tea colored. My husband is also not doing super awesome. He is still on blood thinners. He developed blood clots, and that's a lifelong condition. So it is what it is. Plugging along. Ooh, 9th back surgery. I am so sorry. That is not fun. Any spawning from the embellis? I have yet to see a male. I know those fish have got to be in there, but all I ever see is the females, and there's no bubble nest, so I don't think that they're spawning yet. I hope the males are in there. I didn't find them on the floor. I didn't find them in another aquarium. No bodies, so, I imagine they're in there. I might pick up some better rubra to do another little blackwater as well. Why are Shelleys so hard to find if they breed so readily? I don't know. That's a good question. Should you leave your wild caught Episto fry in the tank? Not if you want them to survive. I would recommend pooling them when they become food seeking. Otherwise, the parents generally will kill them as they set up to spawn again. If you're near the city, Sean, for finding Odocinclus, I would check Monster Aquarium. That's a really good store. Do I keep barbs? Yes. I have cherry barbs, Odessa barbs, clown barbs, panda barbs. And I often work with some of the smaller ones as well. Do you guys want to take a look at some aquariums? Let's see if it'll work for me. It's the 75 Sometimes when I pull the camera out to film this one, the green neons hide, but generally speaking, this is what they do. So they're always right in that middle section, just popping against those plants, and they're just so pretty. And again, then the barred pencils, and there's Pistogramma cockatoide triple red in here. There's some orange laser cories. There's a ton of Odos. There's one random rosy loach that I have no idea how it got in there. And one Hypoptoma gulaire, or giant Odo. Nobody's been fed yet today, so they're all just doing their normal chilling. But I think this aquarium in particular has been quite successful. Super, super easy. I need to control the chaos that are these leaves. And actually, JH Aquatics sent me a really cool big bag of botanicals right there. I need to soak them so that they'll sink. And I'm going to add a bunch more into this aquarium as well. But it's done pretty well. You guys can see that moss growing up the back wall. Isn't that weird? I did not put it in there. I have no idea why or how it adhered to the glass wall, but it looks kind of cool, so I'm going with it. It's my birthday tank. These guys are putting on size. The Parasiprochromis are actually spawning. I have a female holding, which is awesome, except for they're supposed to be really docile, but they killed a couple of my Sumbus, so I have to catch the remaining Sumbus out of there and move them to their own aquarium. But this one is a work in progress, we'll say. You can see the male Nigripinus there. They're really starting to get some color. Hey, Mike. You have it all over the back glass of your 40. The thing is I never put moss in my aquariums on purpose. I don't really know how it gets everywhere. I haven't purchased moss in over a decade, and yet it is in every freaking aquarium. Why do I just use sponge filters? Because I power my entire fish room from one 80-watt air pump. And then the air is pushed through this loop all around the fish room. And then I drop lines down to the aquariums, and this way, instead of having a whole ton of pumps and filters and everything else going, I can use one 80-watt pump. It's the most efficient way for me to filter my fish room. And as long as I keep up with keeping the sponge filters clean, they do a pretty darn good job. Also, because I historically work with very, very small fish and invertebrates, the sponge filters are the safest option for fry and shrimp. Check out, there's been 2 more spawns in this aquarium of Plecos. There are baby Plecos literally everywhere. Everywhere I look. So it's going to be a bit until I can get to a rescape of this aquarium, because these guys are just breeding me out of house and home. And what's interesting is there seems to be 2 color forms. There's these guys here that are like a really solid color with a white tail. And then there's guys like the one on the rock there that are super speckled and adorable. My laundry's done. So it's kind of neat. You can see one of the dark ones there, dark one there, speckled one. But there's no dark Plecos in this aquarium. The ones I really want to breed are these Hypancistris contradens, and they are still just taking their sweet old time. My tank lights are on from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m., so 6 hours. This is the one I did yesterday for you guys. It's nice and clear now. I can actually feed these guys if you want to see them. We also need to feed Captain. Let's see if I can open the food. I'll just feed a different food because I can't get that one open. Yes, I do have a step-by-step video about that tank. I would like to sell you my remaining 236. So this is fry crack, which is just a powdered fry food. It's like 800 micron, I think. And I like to use it for these wood cats because it stays up there at the surface for a while, and that's where they like to feed. So hopefully we might have to give them a minute or two. But they'll all come out zooming around. Captain is doing well. He's currently begging for food. Now, I see he sees the camera and he goes on his side. You guys just saw that he was perfectly upright and fine. Why do you make people worry about you, Captain? It's not very nice. See, he's fine. We can feed him, too. He just gets cichlid pellets. Certainly has a good appetite, huh? Thanks, Mike. Oh, here they go. Can I zoom? Oh, yeah. Aren't they cute? They're like little Tasmanian devils. So stinking cute. And if we look around, I mean, they just come out of everywhere. But they seem happy in this aquarium. Historically, this species of fish, which is Centromochilus perugiae, or the honeycomb catfish, oil catfish, driftwood cat, are prone to hiding. But for some reason, in my aquarium, they are extremely outgoing. And I don't know if it's because I've kept so much hardscape up in the top third of this aquarium, or if they're just really happy, but you can see they are definitely out and about and not feeling particularly shy. So doing well, doing well. There's some super red babies right there at the top. You guys see them? There's one there and there's two over here. I did a video on how to pot plants in an aquarium literally yesterday. There's another baby. There's a mama. This aquarium's been really, really successful. I haven't seen the Plecos today. I know they're in there somewhere. But with all the wood that's in this aquarium, whether or not we'll see them is unlikely. But the growth on this aquarium has been astounding. Especially for no fertilizers and using just an inert substrate. Been really happy about it. Do I have earth eaters? No. I keep mainly small fish. Let's spy on the bettas. Now I am way back from this aquarium because if I get anywhere near it with a camera, if the bettas are out, they will hide anyway. And it's always... it's like a Where's Waldo in this aquarium trying to find them. There are 6 in here. Oh, I see one. It's inside. It's actually inside that botanical right there. I don't think we'll be able to see it. But again, I need to add more botanicals to this, and I need to add more rooibos, or rooibos, however you say it. There's like 3 different ways you guys in the comments have told me to pronounce it, and I don't think I've said it right once yet. But yeah, so this is that one. It's the little endlers in my Poecilocerax Weitzmanni tank. Adding some activity. This is one of the ones that I'm going to be adding botanicals to for shrimp. This is another one. I haven't really shown you guys much of those 2 aquariums. And then here are the Odessa Barbs. They are sexy, sexy, sexy fish. And they're in there with my L397s. The baby big boys. Doing good. Just doing what they do. Just lumping out. There's this one and this one that are substantially smaller that I may have to rehome just for their safety. I can't dedicate another aquarium to grow out for them. But this one and that one and the one behind the wood and one more, which I think it's over here, are almost twice the size of these guys. And if there's too much disparity in their size, they'll try and eat each other. So I'm gonna have to figure that out probably in the next couple months. And there's the big boys. They are aware that I am down here with the camera, so they think that means they're going to be fed. It's like a puppy pile. Hey, Ron. I just was up at the wild betta tank. As far as I know, the fish are fine. Look at these guys begging. You guys are shameless. Absolutely shameless. Look at that gar. Look at his freckly chin. Isn't he cute? There's the little elbow biter. Yeah, I've worked with Alice. I've worked with glow light Danio, Celestichthys choprae quite a lot. They're wonderful fish. I don't have any right now. So I still have to figure out what I'm putting in this aquarium. It's done really well since the rescape. Still waiting. You can see the carpet's starting to fill back in. So that's progress. Still haven't gotten a light for this one. I don't know why. I have no good excuse. Deb, I hope to sell fish again, but right now I can't carry things out of the fish room because of my knee. So as soon as I can do that, I mean, I'm doing a few orders here and there, but I can't always, like, if I wake up and my pain's too bad, I just can't do it. The hillies. See if we can look how nice these shiners look. See how red they are? Sowelia. Another Sowelia back there. There's a Gastromyzon viriosus right there. We got the white clouds, the Daniochaethet. A couple more of the Gastromyzon viriosus. They're one of my favorites. Here's the little Rhino Goby. There are several pairs of those. There's a pair right there. See the lady in the back and then the male in the front. And then this fish here is a Stiphodon. There's another male Rhinogobius. I have more males than females, which is not ideal, but they can be really difficult to sex when they're smaller. No panda loaches. I just don't prefer them. Look, see, there's more moss. More moss. More moss. You can really see that Gastromyzon well in the back there. I love those. All right, time to sit down again. Oh, wait, I wanted to show you guys some Plecos and maybe some shrimp. These are the 236s. You can see one there by the sponge filter. And there's a tail there. And then we can't see any 450s, I don't think. You'll see a tail right there. Another zebra type. Oh, there's one in the back. And then I have 173s in here. They're always hanging out on top of, well, we can't really see. Oh, there goes one. Another zebra type. You know how Plecos are, though. They don't like to be too visible, especially high pans. Some Endlers. Some least killies. Heterandria formosa. It's a big female. It's a bunch of them. They're breeding really, really well. To look at shrimp, I actually have to climb up on a ladder, and I don't have one over on the shrimp side of the fish room right now. So we're out of luck for looking at them today. Why using numbers instead of names for Plecos? Because until Plecos are formally described by scientists, they are assigned an L number for sorting. So it's just a way to categorize them until they are formally described. Once they're formally described, like the high Pansistrus contradens, then you use their Latin name. Least Kellies are always hard to track. I don't know why, because they're such a perfect nano fish. So docile, so breedable, adorable, and really well suited to extremely small aquariums. You know, I've worked with them on and off for the past 15 years, and I just think they're really cool. I guess maybe because they're not as like shiny or flashy or something. I tried THC too, Carrie, and I just don't like the feeling. I don't like it. So, and it didn't help. I was still in pain. Let's see if we have any questions. I'm sure I missed a ton as I was walking around. Can different types of Shelleys be kept together? I prefer not to. I mean, I prefer not to house fish together that like to inhabit the exact same part of the aquarium. I just find that it rarely goes well long term. And I imagine there's a risk of hybridization. Am I into killifish? Not right now. Do you need egg crate under driftwood? Probably not. How'd I get my Cuban gar? I actually paid money to the University of Michigan, I think, in order to sponsor a graduate study on genetics utilizing Cuban gars. And then when they were done this study, I had to apply to purchase one. So I basically funded someone's education to be able to get that fish. Time lapse of certain tanks. I can Google how to do that. I am not very technologically savvy, as I'm sure you guys have noticed. I've been working really hard at trying to improve my production value for you guys, but it is not an easy thing for me. So, you know, that's something I'd have to look into how to do and then figure out how to do it on my camera. Is there a supplement for clown barbs not to eat plants? No, not really. I mean, you can try feeding them a good omnivorous diet, but, you know, the reality is they're going to do what they do. What can you keep with your crebensis pair? Lots of stuff. Alice, I answered the question about the glow lights. I do have experience with them. They're great fish. They're beautiful. Why don't I breed bettas? You mean like betta splendens? Honestly, they're like a dime a dozen, and unless I was going to be doing it to breed show quality fish, there's absolutely no reason for me to put my efforts into something that's commonly available. I generally prefer to work with species that are not commonly available or who need preservation because of habitat destruction, you know, pollution, or just difficult to get them collected. I have a rainbow fish tank, but yes, I do plan on making one that is more specifically geared towards featuring them, but it'll be pseudomugals. It won't be the full-size rainbows. I like the little blue eyes. Yeah, so most of my breeding efforts are based around fish that I just have a difficult time getting and want to see more of in the hobby, or ones who just need our help, and sometimes just ones that I think are really cool. No, I have not kept blood parrot. I don't work with hybrids. How do I get my plants to grow so well with no dosing? I do a lot of water changes. Thank you, Timothy. Oh, that went by fast. Now I can't find it. I'm sorry, Timothy. I saw you had a question, but I can't find it. I don't know how to. Oh, there it is. Have I bred Medusa Plecos? I am not very good at common names, so I would have to look up their Latin. Do I mix my endlers? No. In fact, I have an endler colony here, one around the corner, and then I keep them on opposite sides of the fish room, and I don't take plants from their aquariums and add them to other aquariums because I want to maintain the lines. I try and be very, very careful about maintaining those lines. My phone is blowing up. How many hours a week do I spend on water changes? I'm usually down here. Ooh, my phone's dying. I forgot about that. I don't even know how many hours a week I do on water changes, to be honest. I gotta plug you guys in. Hold on. I think that did it. I spend a lot of time in the fish room. This is a full-time job. Oh yeah, I was answering how I manage such growth. I really don't know why my plants do as well as I do, other than that I seem to have magic water. I do use really good quality substrates, which helps as well. Well, but not in every tank, and I just have always had really good luck with plants. Now, I think a lot of that, too, is the plants that I choose to work with. I'm not picking plants that are heavy root feeders other than like crypts and some of the lace plants. For the most part, I pick plants that will do well with my relative neglect. Thank you, Angry Bubbles. For me, I really like, someone asked what a good quality substrate is. For me, I really like the Tropica soil substrates. I find them to be really great for plant root development and easy to maintain and attractive. They tend to bring out a really nice color, especially in my South American fish as well as in some of the blackwater guys. I've never worked with L34s. Sorry, Tim. So I like Tropica a lot. But I've used just about everything over the years, trying things out. I like the Tropica as well because it's smooth on the bottom dwellers, barbels. Do I mess with pH to get fish to breed? Rarely. Now, I don't know what that means. Sometimes I will subtly, but it's more that I'm manipulating the TDS than anything. So I'll mimic a dry season sometimes to induce catfish into spawning, and by that I mean I'll let the tanks evaporate down without topping off and without doing water changes for a few weeks, and then I'll do a large volume water change, and that simulates like a rainy season, dry season. And of course, when I keep fish outdoors, the rainwater is a big switch for them from my source water. So, but in most of my aquariums, I just keep things stable and consistent and feed them a good diet. And if you maintain things well and feed them well, they'll eventually start breeding. For my crypts, do I use root tabs? No. What size water changes do I do on my shrimp tanks? Generally, like 15% every like 4 or 5 days. Smaller volume because a lot of those are utilizing the substrates that will change their chemistry, and they're a smaller volume aquarium. I talked about having some sponsorship this year. Yeah, I signed a contract with one. Well, I'll fill you guys in more about that when I have the details. For me, it's sort of tricky because unless it's something I think is really specifically unique to a particular company, I feel like, it doesn't really matter what you use in a lot of ways. So trying to find a sponsorship that's a good fit for my values and ethics and morals. I try and be aware of the fact that my recommendations hold some weight with you guys. And I've always been really careful to not be a product pusher and to not present information as in it's the only way things can be done. So for me to partner with a company, I have to actually use their products, believe in their products, and think that they offer something really unique for you guys that's special. So it's not been super easy. I get offers, but you know, because I'm not a product pusher, affiliate codes don't only go so far. You know, we'll see what happens. I'm going to keep working hard, and you know, if an opportunity arises, I'll take it, but if not, I'm fine. How about doing a salty nano with some sexy shrimp? Sexy shrimp are cute, and I actually really like just the little cleaner shrimps. How do I personally treat ick? I use quinine. It is my preference, simply because I've seen a lot of resistant strains of ick cropping up in the past few years. It's a very gentle, easy treatment, although it's difficult to get quinine. But I've also used heat and salt. It depends on who I'm treating, what size the aquarium is, how bad they look. Captain is like dancing his pants off. But I know darn well if I try and show you guys, he's going to stop because he'll see me looking at him. Pepper's doing awesome, my little editor. Love pseudomugals. I love all pseudomugals. Right now I have Eru 2s, I think, which I believe was reclassified. They might even be the Luminatus. I'd have to look through my notes. I can't remember. Have I bred Coolie Loach? Yes. Not on purpose. They give me the heebie-jeebies so bad. They're actually in a tank at the bottom there, and the reason they're behind my chair and on the bottom is so I don't have to look at them too much, because they really just give me the willies. I mean, I definitely understand their appeal, but I answered this earlier, Barry, about the filter feeders. I don't work with them because they are not ethically collected. Hey, Lisa. I try and only support companies that use ethical collection. So sometimes that limits what I will keep. Can I start a series of how to breed fish? I mean, I try and show that when I can, but unfortunately the fish don't seem to care about my timeline. And the other thing is the vast majority of fish aren't spawning when the lights are on and I'm down here. They're waiting until it's quiet and dark. So it can be a difficult thing to capture the process. So if and when I capture fish actually breeding, then I would be happy to do a series like that, but you can't make the fish do what you want, especially on camera. So it's, you know, it can be an obstacle. What's my favorite schooling nano fish? That's like asking my favorite kid. Yeah, I can't pick just one. I think the best schooling nano fish is Brevibora dorsiocellata, which is the emerald iris bora. They're directional, top third, tiny, really adorable. Got a little lamp eye and a black dorsal with a lemon colored body. Really great fish. But they're not as flashy as some of the others. Do I have Denison barbs? Not right now. They really like a lot of lateral swimming space. If you can do a 6-foot tank for them, you will love it all day long. Do I ever just do tropicals like mollies, platies, guppies, swordtails? No. There's plenty of people doing those fish and doing them well, and they're just not my interest. You know, I keep the Endlers live bearers, I keep some wild guppies, and I keep the Heterandria formosa as far as live bearers, and that's generally it. I like the little tiny guys. I just much prefer them to the more average size community fish now. You know, we'll see what the years. I sort of go through like phases in my interests. I'm always a catfish hoarder. Like, I have this deep, undying love for fish that hide, and I have no idea why. So I'd like to really increase the types of Corydoras that I'm working with. And then I go through like phases of dwarf cichlids or things like that. based on what tickles my fancy. But the thing is my fish generally live for a really long time. So, you know, I only have so many tanks, so I can only get new fish or different fish when I have an aquarium that is suitable for it. Can you keep 2 species of pencilfish in a 75 gallon? Certainly. Absolutely. In fact, I would like to pick up some Nanostomus marginatus. The little dwarf pencils, they're relatively inexpensive, but they're my absolute favorite other than my barred pencils. So we have about 10 minutes, guys, and then I have to go to the grocery store and the bank and the doctor and all this stuff. Lots of stuff to do today, but I wanted to just do a live stream. I didn't realize how long it had been since I'd done one. You know, if I ever get the channel membership that YouTube rolls out, then I would start doing weekly streams for that. But I'm going to try and get more consistent with it in general for you guys. I know you guys like to be able to ask questions real time and look around. My schedule's just been so hectic. It's been difficult to commit to sitting still. Am I ready for the snow? No. Man, one thing they don't tell you about getting your knee replaced is that, like, the joint itself, the metal joint, gets cold. So when it's really cold, man, I am miserable because I can feel the cold from the inside out. It's just not fun, and I didn't realize it would be like that. Captain's doing great. I no longer have whiskey, guys. You can ask till you're blue in the face, but he's no longer here. I had to make a decision based on Captain's well-being. Do I keep turtles? No. I would like to. I would like to keep stink pots. Little musk turtles. But I haven't sourced them, and I'm actually, I think my Fishroom might be a bit too warm for them. So I would obviously have to do a lot of research before I made that leap, but I would really like to keep some little musk turtles. I know that they can be housed well with some fish as well. Someone said something about CPDs. That's my least favorite nano fish. I understand why people love them, but they're just not my favorite. TDS of my wild betta tank is about 90. Welcome. Juice. Eagles are saints? I have no idea. Thank you for the super chat, though. Anyway, do you guys have, what's the hardest thing about the hobby? That's a really good question. I don't know what the hardest thing for me is. I think the hardest thing for a lot of folks is figuring out how to do research in order to know what is a good calculated risk when combining fish. It's hard to know who to trust, who to listen to, what information out there is good information, what is just to make sales. You know, so what I always try and do is independent research based on papers and make my best educated guess. But probably the hardest thing for me over the years has been managing disease. Just because I import fish, and it can be, I don't like to use medications. So trying to identify what I'm potentially treating is of critical importance to me. And actually one of you guys sent me a new microscope, which is really exciting, and I'd like to do some content about that, but I haven't had any sick fish to be able to share that with you guys. But the next time I have something get sick, I plan to do some slides, and I have a really great book of various diseases that give good images to compare to diagnose. So it's, you know, that's content I both equal parts don't want to make because I don't want to have sick fish, but do want to make because I think it would be really useful for you guys. So we'll see. Could I look at eggs under the microscope? Yeah. What do I think about dichrosis? I think they're amazing. They're amazing fish. I would like to work with those. Do I have any acrylic tanks? Nope, all glass. I will do the CO2 project at some point. I don't know where it is right now. I've actually had all the equipment for about 10 years. Just have never set it up. It's pretty sad. Yeah, no sick fish is good. I mean, I haven't gotten fish in other than stuff from people I know that have bred them since last October. You know, like not the one we just had, the one before. So I am not currently keeping any licorice gourami. I would like to, again, Paris forminas are a fish that really need our help. So if you're going to work with them, you should really focus on breeding. If interested in that fish and licorice gourami, I would encourage you to go check out the Paris forminas project. It's a website that has a database of breeders from all over the world, as well as really great care and species information. I have done a video on how to clean a tank with shrimp. I think it was probably 3 years ago. That was one of the early ones, so that means the production quality and sound is absolutely horrendous. But the information's probably good. My tallest tank size currently in operation, a 5-gallon. Sid Fish's, my 5-gallon fluval speck in my living room is probably the smallest aquarium. A couple more minutes, guys, then I gotta get to work because this takes a lot. How do I deal with humidity down there? I have them turned off right now because it's extremely loud, but I have dehumidifiers in both corners of the fish room that have a tube run to a wet dry pump that pumps them constantly so that I don't have to empty them. New Plecos are doing great. I haven't seen them today because they're doing what Plecos do, which is hide. Oh, my phone's about to die as well. Hey, Greg. Dilly dilly. But yeah, I don't even know what schedule I'm going to maintain for this year on YouTube. I've just been making videos whenever I feel like making videos, which has been almost every day. I need to figure out a set schedule for you guys. And when I figure that out, I'll be sure to let you know, but I've just been plugging along. Can you keep Betta and Corey's together? Yeah. All right, guys, I should probably wrap this up so that I can get back to work and do my errands. Someone asked my favorite plant, and that's probably either a narrow leaf Java fern or a Nubius nana. I would like to thank all of you guys for spending the last hour with me. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your days to look around the fish room and chat with me. And as always, thank you for the support. I appreciate all the likes and shares and comments that you guys leave on my videos as well as these live streams. I read every single one of them. And it's been really fun watching the community grow. So stay tuned, and I'll probably be back tomorrow with another video.